My mother is at a very high, very reputable stage in her career. And for those that know me very personally, know the line of work that she's in and know how difficult a feat that is to be at the place that she is in. I come from a family of high achievers. For example, my sister was the university topper of her batch. So, those that have already pieced it together, I'm trying to talk about perfectionism. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not condemning perfectionism in its entirety, although I should if I go technical into it. But, anyways, I do understand the benefits that perfectionism brings. I do understand that it is one of the excellent tools to push you forward in the direction that you need to go in. And it is excellent in making you be better than you were yesterday. And what's better than that? So I do get how perfectionism is great for you. But I wanted to talk about the dark side of perfectionism. When perfectionism takes a toll on you so much so that you end up quitting doing any task that was assigned to you rather than move through the process of it because it looks like the overall picture is so overwhelming for you that you're not able to do it you know I'm talking about when perfectionism becomes so overwhelming that it causes you to have panic attacks because of the anxiety that it is causing. So let's just break it down. Let's talk about the definition of perfectionism, for example. Um, it's just the need to be or to do any task perfectly. But I did want to bring to attention Dr. Brene Brown's work because she is someone that I've started following very recently. And one of the things that she says is that perfectionism is not the same as striving to give your best. It is not about healthy achievements and growth. It's rather used as a shield to protect against the pain of blame, judgment, and shame. So I wanted to give my own example. For those of you who have been following Kind Kanya, have seen or noticed that I have been on a break. One of the reasons, actually, the primary reason for that to happen was because there was a lot of crap that was happening in my life at the time, and it all happened together. And it was too overwhelming for me at the time, and I just needed a break. But then, as and how I was moving through that, I started to see that there was this narrative in my head that I needed Kind Kanya to be perfect. I needed the grid to be perfect. I needed the video to be perfect. I needed the writing to be perfect. I forgot to be kind to myself at that time. So I had to work through that. And that is why this entire month of July, I have assimilated a content that will be speaking about perfectionism. I've tried to um, touch upon as many areas as I could think about because this is like my life life's reflection, So for those of you that are that are sorry for fumbling. For those of you that aren't already following me, head over there if you think that this is going to give you some kind of value for your life. So yeah, I wanted to get going on how it was that I started understanding this tendency to be perfect in my life and how it was affecting me. So in during my therapy days, my therapist picked up on the fact that I was having perfectionistic tendencies, and as I said, it was generationally passed out to us. So I this is the only kind of life that I have seen. Now, while I was working through it, one of the ways that she got me to do it was through my art because it's not a life threatening situation. So she got me to start painting, but set a 10-minute timer. So it was sort of like this 10-minute painting challenge, wala thingy. And what happened was that I completed the picture, but at the end of 10 minutes, it was this highly stressful 10 minutes. And then I had a painting on a canvas which I thought had so many flaws, but someone else looking at it would never see the same flaws as me. And that's when we started working to develop my tolerance towards imperfect things, and my tolerance towards accepting the fact that I'm giving my best, and the outcome may not be perfect, but it's still great. So I went online just for the sake of this video and compiled together a list of questions from Forbes, um, to ask yourself if your perfectionism is getting out of hand. So ask yourself these questions in any moment that you feel you are caught up in your um, perfectionistic traits, for the lack of a better word. Ask yourself this so that at least you're aware of it, and then you can reach out for help. And I will give you a set of tools to help you through moving through this habit as well. Stick to the end of the video for that. But yeah, so here goes. The first question is, am I enduring unnecessary pain or suffering and justifying that as trying to be perfect hard worker so as to succeed? It's a mouthful of words, which essentially boils down to, do you think that in order to be successful, you need to be a perfectionist? That is the first question that you need to ask yourself. Second question is it hard for me to receive feedback, be it constructive criticism, even? So, is it hard for you to receive feedback? Like, does your blood boil when someone tells you that you have done something wrong? You need help. Okay. At the same time, are you secretly thinking of ways in which others could do their work better? I told you I'm a perfectionist, so I'm guilty of all of these. But yeah, so this is what happens is, someone tells me I have done my work very, I could have done this better in this way. I get pissed off, but at the same time, I have got a handful of suggestions for other people to do their work the way, it could have been done better if you would have followed this. So that is another thing to look out for. Then, is the fear of failure causing you to procrastinate? This is a major thing for me, as I said with the example of Kind Kanya as well, that this deadline for me to set these posts, get these posts ready and all was so overwhelming because I wanted it to be perfect. It was not that I gave myself an unrealistic deadline, it was just that I needed it to be perfect, and so I never got to creating it only in the first place. I never got started. Then yeah, the next question is, are you constantly feeling guilty and ruminating over not completing the task perfectly? So are you going on and on and on in your head saying that I could have done this better, I made this mistake, I shouldn't have done that, I should have done this instead? Dude, reach out for help. Then, are you overestimating the impact of your mistakes? For example, something as tiny as the painting example, let's take that, something as tiny as not doing this brush stroke in this place, or coloring outside the lines. That's a tiny mistake in normal people's minds, but a perfectionist is like, why the hell didn't I do that? I should have done that, I should have done this, I should have done that. Are you doing that? Are you overestimating the impacts of your mistakes? Then the next question is, are you in I told you so situations when feeling guilty about it? And I'm sorry. Are you in I told you so situations and then feeling guilty about your competitiveness? So basically, it is like, are you in situations where you feel happy for saying, when someone fails, are you slightly happy and then feel guilty about, oh my God, my competitiveness is making me, inconsiderate, or making me lack my compassion, and I'm feeling happy about someone making a mistake. So if you're in that kind of a situation, seek help. Then the last question is, am I constantly living in the fear of rejection? As Dr. Brene Brown said, that perfectionism is a shield to protect yourself against the pain of judgment, shame, or blame. So, are you in this constant fear of being rejected? Is that why you are perfectly creating your posts? Sorry, doing your task. So, yeah, as promised, these are the tools that I want to give you for managing your perfectionism. See the big picture. Get an eagle's eye perspective, a top down approach, for example, would be a better way to put this across. This is something that I've learned from my mentor from my MBA days. He always used to tell me, because he saw that I was a perfectionist and I was getting stuck in these stages, because I was looking at the first step, I'm not able to do it completely or perfectly well, so I'm not able to move on to the second stage. So he suggested this to me, where he said that get an overall picture of it, get top down approach, a bird's eye view, for example. So, for example, if I were to create a video, create a post, and do some writing in 1 week's time, this is my deadline, I should not be stuck on writing one line and ruminate about it for 30 minutes how that line is not perfect. Rather, if I look at this is the big picture, this is what I want to do with the work that I want to do, then I'm able to move past that tiny errors, for example. Then set realistic standards. One of the problems with being a perfectionist is that you hold yourself at high standards, and unrealistically high standards at that. So you need to also account for uh, things that can go wrong. You need to also account for leeway or room for error, and you need to set that realistic goal, achievable, realistic goal. Third suggestion would be to create a checklist which has measurable goals. Again, to take the example that I said with the first point, that if I were to create a video, some posts, and some writing, then my measurable goals in order to create this checklist would be my style of writing. Am I including my own experiences? How much time limit am I suggesting for certain works? Like, for example, creating a video, how many takes would I take, for example? So that way, create a checklist with measurable goals. So how this helps is that when you sit over there and ruminate about, how you could have done things better, if you've been checking this off of the list, you can see that you have done everything that is required of you. So you're not stuck anymore. So you can see that now it is no more that I haven't finished the goal, as much as my perfectionist voice coming up and telling me that I have not done a good job. So that's why you need to create a checklist with measurable goals. And then no rumination. So for you to not ruminate, you need to identify situations where your triggers come in. You need to stop trusting your first reaction, because it's quite possible that all your life, because you've been ruminating and you've been so hard on yourself, your first reaction may not be that good. Maybe you need to take a step back and look at the overall picture and then see that, oh, you have done a good job. So don't trust your first reaction. The number one thing that has helped me was to seek a diversion. The moment when I have caught myself in a situation where I am ruminating, I immediately seek a diversion. I'm like, okay, I'm going to come back to this work, or even this thought, after I finish half an hour of reading, or after I finish half an hour of singing a song, or whatever helps, seek a diversion. And then always have an alternate positive self-talk ready for you. So the moment that you tend to see yourself ruminating, always have a self-talk that can help you say that, oh, maybe this is how I have done it in the past, but now I don't need to do it this way. I'm going to take a pause. I'm going to look at the overall picture. Things that can help you jolt you back into the reality of the situation. Get an external perspective. You are not alone, and so you need help. And so the same way, get a friend to look at it, your project, for example. Is it good enough? Get their perspective. That'll help. That goes a long way. And also monitor your progress and celebrate the wins, because the more you keep celebrating the wins, the more it is registered in your head that you are working towards reversing your perfectionist traits, and it is also being registered in your head that you are doing a good job. So the more that is reinforced, the more it becomes your second nature, and the more you run on autopilot henceforth, to avoiding perfectionism. I hope this helped you. It's been one long video and I need to stop it. But yeah, stay tuned for the posts of July. Thank you. Bye.